This next display that we're going to cover is also used for discrete quantitative data, and it's called the stem and leaf plot. Now, a stem and leaf plot is similar to a dot plot in that they both show discrete data. We can extend a stem and leaf plot to show continuous data, which is measurable data as well. They're different. They're both the same in the fact that they both show a frequency based off of some kind of shape. In a dot plot, we use dots to show the frequency. In the stem and leaf, we're going to use each one of these things called leaves. These are your leaves, and they're representing frequency. The big difference is that the stem and leaf now has a range that it's covering through frequency. So if you notice here, the frequency, the range is covering in the 7, 8, 9, 10, which is similar to a dot plot when you had those on a number line, except in a dot plot, those actually represent the numbers that were in the data set. For a stem and leaf, they're representing a range of values. And notice we can tell that the first value, 7/2, from this key right here, tells us that this value represents 72, which means that this next value is 72 again, then 74, then 75, 76, and 79. So we're going to create a stem and leaf, and we generally use stem and leaves when we have smaller data sets as well, but we have bigger ranges or wider ranges. So here's how this works. The first thing you have to do to create a stem and leaf is to order the data. Order the data means put the data in order from smallest to greatest. And then we're going to determine the stem and the leaves. Our leaves are going to generally tell us how to get the stem. So we always start off by finding the single digit to make it a leaf. The very last digit of each number will be the leaf. The stem is whatever remains over. So we're going to go to the next example and actually create a stem and leaf plot. So for this data set, the following data set represents the number of text messages sent by students in the class last week. They want us to create a stem and leaf plot for the distribution, then determine the mode, median, and range of this data set. So we can see here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a 6 by 5, so we have 30 students in this class right now. In order to actually start a stem and leaf, you need to order the data. As you notice, you can see this data is not ordered. So let's go over to the next slide. Here, the data has been ordered for us. And here's how we do this. We're going to look at the back digit of each one of these values. So we're always looking at the last digit first. So notice this first number is 8. This number is a 5, an 8, a 9, a 2, a 2, and so forth. Those numbers are going to represent frequency. So we started by doing this. We're going to have what's called the stem and the leaf. We've determined our leaves to be the back digit, so our stems are the numbers that are left over. So notice here our first stem is a 8. The next stem is a 10, but this is a number line that you're creating, so you can't skip numbers. So we'll write a 9 first, then we have a 10, then we have an 11, then we have a 12, a 13, a 14, and a 15. So notice how the data ranges from 8 to 15 here. And then we'll take the back digit, or the trail digit here, and we'll write those as the leads. And we're going to write those in order and trying to space them out as closely as possible. And so we'll do this. We have 88, so 8 is a stem, the leaf is an 8. The next one is 105. There's nothing in the 9s, so we'll go to 10. We have 105, 108, 109, in the 10s. In the 11s, we have 112, 112, 112, 114, 116, 118, and 118 again. And notice I'm writing the repeats as well. In the 12s, we have 121, 122, 122, 124, 126, 126, 126, and 129. In the 13s, we have 130, 133, 133. In the 14s, we have 140, 142, 144, 145, 147, and 148. And in the 15s, we have 155 and 159. And if you notice, we've gotten this graph here, which is similar to a dot plot. And actually, if you turn this on the side, and if I could turn it, I would. You turn it on the side, you're gonna get you actually get this dot plot here. Notice where your range is from here to here, your interval range is from here to here. This is your number line part, and your frequencies occurring now are these values here. And now, the question asks us to find based off this graph, to find the median, the mode, and the range. So notice this, one of the best things about dot plots and stem and leaf plots is that they preserve data. And by preserve data, I mean when you look at these graphs, you can actually tell what data values went in to create them. There are some graphs which we're going to get to which don't do this. But from this graph, we can see that the range first, which is equal to the maximum number, which is 159, minus the minimum number, which is 88. And again, how do I know that this number is 159 and I know that it's 88? Technically, I don't. So for any stem and leaf, in order to read it, the first thing you have to provide to the reader is always going to be a key. And the key is generally taken from the first number, which is an 8 here, /8. And we're going to say that 8/8 means 88. So make sure you always include a key with your stem and leaf graph. But our range is 159 minus 88, which is 71. Our mode, or the value that is most frequent and repeats the most often, when you come in here, you can see that you have 112 repeating 3 times, and then 126 repeats 3 times. So the mode is equal to, you have 2 modes. You have 112 as a mode, and 126 is a mode. And then you have the median, which again, to find the median, we're going to use our strike-through method. So start here at 8, come on this side to 9. Then we go here. We work our way to the middle. And notice that when I strike through on the top side, or on this side over here, I'm always starting at the back and moving towards here. And here I start at the front and move out. So keep that in mind when you're doing this. So we're going to go here next, here, here. And notice that for this particular data set, I have 2 middle values. And anytime you have an even data set, which are in here, is equal to 30. So it's an even data set. We have 2 middle values. So when you find the median of 2 middle values, you actually take the average of those 2 middle values. And we're going to take the average of 124 plus 126 divided by 2, and we get a median of 125. So this is just some of the things that this graph can display. There are other things that we're going to learn how to do. And notice that through the strike-through method, it took a long time to get there. There's quicker ways to do the median, and we'll talk about that in a later video. But for now, understand that this graph and a dot plot are pretty similar to each other, and that they both show frequency. One shows frequency of just a smaller range, while the other shows frequency of a larger range. So